Welcome to REIT Magazine's weekly report. I'm Alan Kenny. In our first story this week, data suggests private equity investors are taking greater interest in the Latin American commercial real estate market. According to a report from alternative assets research firm Preqin, fund managers are seeing more opportunities in Latin America thanks to strong economic growth and an expanding middle class in many of the countries within the region. Currently, 14 Latin American funds are trying to raise capital with a combined fundraising target of $3.8 billion. In 2012, 8 funds focused on Latin America reached a final close and secured an aggregate $3.4 billion in investor capital. In the latest edition of Fundamentally Speaking on REIT.com, NAREIT's Calvin Schnure discussed developments in the commercial lending market. Schnure said trends support the idea of a healthy recovery continuing in commercial real estate.
We've actually seen a significant turnaround just in the past couple of months, for the first time since the crisis. One of the easiest ways to see this is to look at the Fed's survey, senior loan officer survey that came out very recently, and it showed almost half of banks are reporting increases in demand for commercial mortgages. Now, that's not saying that they're seeing a lot of strong demand, but we're seeing widespread increases in demand for commercial lending.
In a new NAREIT podcast, researcher Clint Laurent of Global Demographics discusses some of the most important trends and misconceptions that will define the global economy in the next 2 decades.
A lot of countries, the focus for the last decade, certainly, and with good reason, has been on younger households, family households, a household with at least one child in it, and particularly middle class and above, however you care to define it. And that's been there, and it's been a good, solid database. But what people sort of forgot was over the last 10 years, those people all got 10 years older. And over that 10 years, suddenly they became middle-aged, older parents.
Visit realestateinvestmenttoday.com to hear the podcast in its entirety. And that concludes this week's edition of Weekly Report. We'll see you next week.